All in Sports Network. We love sports.
We've got breaking news on this edition of the Chiefs Report, as guess what? Like everybody thought, the Kansas City Chiefs have signed nose tackle Mike Pennel back here in Kansas City today. We talk about the signing, we talk about the roster move that was made, and everything in between. We've got a live edition and a breaking news edition here on the Chiefs Report by the Rogue Media Sports Network. Welcome here, everybody. I'm Jace Andrews. Whether you're watching live on YouTube, listening on a later date on Apple Music or on Spotify, we appreciate you hanging out with us here, and this is your daily place for Chiefs news. Let's talk about this Mike Pennel signing, everybody, because it is now official. However, we're going to go a little bit of a backtrack and start with last night's report, in which Jordan Schultz came out and said that the Kansas City Chiefs were working out Mike Pennel. He was requested and granted his release from the Cincinnati Bengals just a couple days ago. Worked out with the Chiefs last night, and everybody kind of expected that this was going to happen, that the signing was pretty much imminent after that part. And well, pretty much instantaneously this morning, we got the official notice from the Kansas City Chiefs account that they have officially signed the nose tackle Mike Pennel and have waived defensive end Malik Herring. We'll talk about Malik Herring a little bit, but want to talk about why this signing is so huge. And I think you first have to start with the injury issues the Chiefs have had at their defensive line position and how really easy of a move this was made. I mean, I can't believe the Bengals didn't even try to trade Mike Pennel. I know he asked for his release. I understand that there are stuff that we can't see, from inside the organization. But at the same time, it felt like the Chiefs were going to trade for Mike Pennel. And whether they got a 7th-round pick, I mean, it could have been the smallest trade there ever was. But guess what? The Bengals still would have got something out of it. Instead, though, they released him, and pretty much within the day, the Chiefs were able to work him out. The next day, of course, here today, they have officially signed him to a contract. So what does this mean for the Chiefs moving forward? Well, first, we have to take a look at the depth chart and kind of talk about where he kind of sits with all this. So given the injury to Omar Norman-Lott, that defensive line room was in I'll call it a struggling place. However, I like what we're at now. You have Chris Jones, you have George Karlaftis, Derek Nottie, Mike Dana. You felt good about your starters. They were all in a good spot. After that, though, is where the depth and kind of the problems started to arise, we'll call them, because Jerry Tillery was, in theory, your only other healthy interior defensive lineman on the roster. Now, we saw this past week against the Washington Commanders on Monday night that the Chiefs are willing to maybe take Ashton Giletti, who is normally on that right defensive edge, but they can put him on the inside part. They're able to kind of move some guys around. Malik Herring is the guy who was released. Didn't really see much of him Monday. Now we kind of know that they don't really like him. And then Charles Omenihu, most of the time you're going to see him on the edge. He's just not going to be a guy you're going to shift over to the interior defensive line. Given the nose tackle designation of Mike Pennel, the familiarity of not only this team, but this defense. I mean, Coach Spags was here when Mike Pennel was. So Mike Pennel coming back to a all too familiar defensive scheme, an all too familiar defensive coordinator, an all too familiar coach. I mean, he was here in 2023. So this was not like a long time removed from the Kansas City Chiefs. This is something that he comes back and hopefully is able to perform. And I think it's something to talk about that this is now the third year in a row or second year in a row the Chiefs have been able to have a guy who, formerly played for them. I'm talking about Kareem Hunt in this instance, but a guy who formerly played for him, and then, he gets released, he gets cut, whatever. The Chiefs sign him back, and he looks fantastic. And Mike Pennel, I think, is the next case of that, because people want to call it Chiefs magic, people want to call it whatever. I call it good coaching. I call it the Chiefs know what to do with certain players. And in a lot of ways, people like to talk dynasties, like to talk all that, and you try and compare the Patriots dynasty to our dynasty now here with the Chiefs. And one thing that the Patriots did that got a lot of credit, and the Chiefs I don't think aren't getting the same credit, is that they made players better. Like, they would sign players who weren't that great. They would come in and play well for them. The Chiefs are doing that same exact thing. What was Juju Smith-Schuster going and doing 2 years ago? Like, let's be honest with ourselves. Hollywood Brown was not having a great year as well before he got finally traded to the Chiefs. I understand there is other instances where the people have come on to Kansas City, not played well. I get that, but they have made players who, whether they haven't worked out on other teams or not done well, they've made them better with your squad. And I credit that all to the coaches. I really do. I look at both the defensive coordinator of Coach Spags and kind of come in here. You talk about Coach Reed and what he's been able to do, how he's been able to year after year formulate this team in the right way. And Mike Pennel, a guy who we're all too familiar with, comes in and I think he'll make an impact right away. Kind of looking at his stats this year, he appeared in pretty much every game for the Cincinnati Bengals thus far this season. He had 15 total tackles, just 4 of them were solo. No sacks. He had 1.5 stuffs. Really nothing crazy for Mike Pennel. But again, the point that I was just trying to make kind of leading up to this is that he's been a journeyman. He played 2 years with the Chiefs in 2019 and 2020. Obviously was here with the Chiefs last year in 2024, in which he played in 17 games, had 25 total tackles, 10 solo, 3 sacks. The only year that he's had more than 1 sack was with the Chiefs just last year. So got a good contract with the Bengals, went around him, and he's played for the Packers, the Jets, the Chiefs, the Falcons, the Bears, the Bengals, and now back with the Chiefs. So been kind of a journeyman, but his best season has been with the Chiefs. I mean, you want to go back to maybe even a second best season. He played in 14 games in 2020, looked pretty good with 29 total tackles. So the big thing for me here is depth, and that the best part about this signing is you're not going to have to ask him to be this top tier guy. You're not going to have to say, "Oh, we traded for you. We gave up a pick for you. We need you to do this." Like, in all reality, this is literally just a free signing. Like, that's what this is. It's a free, hey, take this gift, is what the Bengals just did. They said, here, you want this guy? We know you do. We're going to release him because he asked for his release. Y'all are going to pick him up. I mean, it was just apparently obvious. Do want to talk a little bit about Malik Herring. He never really impressed me. I think that's what I start with here. He's been in the league for 5 seasons. Every single one of those have been with the Chiefs. He has only appeared in 3 seasons, though. This year, he's only had stats on 3 seasons. He's appeared in all years. But this year, he's appeared in 2 different games for the Chiefs, that being the New York Giants game and the Baltimore Ravens game. In those games, he recorded no stats. Nothing. His PFF grade in these times were pretty downright bad. And as a defensive end, when you're looking for interior defensive linemen and you like the odds of Charles Omenihu over you and other players on that defensive end side, Malik Herring, it just didn't make sense for the Chiefs to keep him on. And especially when you're looking at adding a defensive lineman, you're probably going to release or cut a defensive lineman. That's exactly what the Chiefs did, which kind of goes back to a later or earlier signing. If you remember when Omar Norman-Lott was placed on injured reserve, it was, funny enough, a cornerback that the Chiefs pulled up off the practice squad. He's yet to play. But either way, the point being is that the Chiefs feel like they always have a plan. And in my mind, their plan was to always get a defensive tackle in some aspect, and Mike Pennel just happened to work out. I mean, if you were to ask me last week, I would have said, oh, yeah, the Chiefs probably traded for Mike Pennel. Like, they didn't sign him, but they definitely traded for him. Like, that was my opinion. And then as soon as he got released, I mean, it was, you could have just told me he was already signed. I mean, that's how obvious it was. They make the official move today. Couple of things I do want to talk about here with it. Chris Jones was asked today. This was before the signing, by the way, just as a prerequisite to that. But he was asked today at media kind of why they should bring back Mike Pennel, and he publicly said he wanted them to bring back Mike Pennel, citing how important he was for the locker room and that he is excited for it to happen. And it's a significant addition to the Kansas City defensive line squad. Now, obviously, Chris Jones, Mike Pennel, they have a lot of history together, played for multiple seasons in Kansas City. And now these two are going to be back on the same defensive line together inside the interior of that defensive line. When you have a guy like Chris Jones, who is arguably one of, if not the best interior defensive lineman in the entire NFL, praising a player who is also going to be in that interior part of the line with him, you know that is going to be a good situation. You know that is going to be a good player to grab, because guess what? You know what that probably means? Probably means that Mike Pennel makes Chris Jones's job easier. Means Mike Pennel, whenever he's out there, it helps out Chris Jones to where he can get better space, he can get better movement, he can get to the quarterback quicker in some form or facet, or it forces him to be a little bit on the back burner. He knows that Mike Pennel will go out there and make sure to get that in the bag. So all around, very good signing. Happy for this for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think everybody should be happy for a lot of different reasons. You fix your interior defensive line issue with a depth piece that was free. I mean, legitimately, it was free. And I talk so much about how the starters are so good that you don't really need to go out there and sign somebody who could be a starter. You just need to get some depth pieces. And I'd argue that Mike Pennel could be a starter. He really could be, and he's a depth piece. And that's just the way the Chiefs have kind of gotten the dice to roll over the past however many years now, is things like this tend to go the Chiefs' way. And I would be reminiscent to say that I really do believe that Mike Pennel is going to come in here, and whether it be now, whether it be later, whether it be in the playoffs, I truly do believe Mike Pennel will make an important impact in some sort of game, in some sort of fashion. And I'm very excited to see when that does happen, how that happens, and everything in between. Let's move on here in the show, though, because Mike Pennel, obviously, biggest signing. That's great. We also got some more information, though, on our first injury report heading into this is week 9 now. I really couldn't believe it. I had typed out week 8 because the season, it just can't be going this fast. It really can't. Like, you're telling me we're week 9? Either way. Nate Taylor had this report. We'll talk about who is not practicing and practicing today. Trey Smith is going to be practicing with those back spasms, or at least he is expected to practice. And then the other guys who we know that aren't practicing, according to Andy Reid, Hollywood Brown, he is dealing with an illness right now. So I expect him to be a limited participant tomorrow, full participant on Friday. Hopefully he'll be good to go come Sunday against the Bills in a very big game that we'll talk about why that's so important in just a moment. Isaiah Pacheco, we know that MCL kind of sprained now. He's week to week was the labeling on him. He's not practicing. I would be legitimately shocked if he practices at all this week. And I might even go as far to say that I would be shocked if he plays in any time over the next 4 weeks, 2 weeks. Like, my first bet is that he'll come back after the bye. That's really what I'm kind of seeing there. But who knows? Who knows? And then Josh Simons, he's still going to be not here. Still have that family and personal reasons. He's not expected to participate in today's practice. However, it does seem like Josh should be coming back here soon. We got some, I don't want to call them reports, but just like lingering ideas, lingering rumors, maybe is the best way to put this. But it kind of sounds like he will return to the team in some form or fashion, whether it be this weekend or next week. I don't think he's going to play. However, things could change at a drop of a hat, kind of like the way they did when he left. Obviously, still same opinion for me. Deal what you got to deal with, man. Whether it's personal matters, mental health, that's way more important than football. At this point, it is just a game. Like, I get it. Obviously, I want him back. I would love to have him. He's a big part of this team, especially on that offensive line. You want that help, but get your stuff done. Like, I totally get it, and we'll hopefully see him back in the near future. But until now, prayers to his family, him, and hopefully he can be in a much better state when he does come back and be ready for a Kansas City Chiefs playoff run, because, well, it's about to happen and he's going to be a big part of it. So excited for when he can return, and the hope is that hopefully it'll be this weekend. If not, maybe next week we could see him at practices. That is our first injury report, though, of week 9. We'll obviously keep you updated as to like how these injuries progress. Like I said, with Brown, his illness, some illnesses, I would say most illnesses, like I mentioned, he'll probably come back tomorrow as a limited participant at practice. Then we'll see him in some form or fashion. I would hope a full participant on Friday. Should be good to go come on Saturday. He's a big portion to me for the Bills game, just because, I mean, it's a big game in general, but also having your entire healthy wide receiver core is a big part in that. And you know that they're going to put extra effort on Kelsey and on Rasheed. So going to be hopeful big games for Juju and for Hollywood, and need them both available. But yeah, we'll see what happens, and we'll hope for the best for him and the rest of the week. Pacheco, don't expect him to play. Good news, though, Trey Smith is back at practice. I do think it'll probably be a limited participant, though. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, we're going to talk about the latest reports heading to the trade deadline, talk about Breece Hall again, talk about what the upcoming week is going to look like, and kind of everything in between here with the deadline on Tuesday and an important game coming up this Sunday against the Buffalo Bills. All right, we'll be right back here on the Chiefs Report on the Rogue Media Sports Network.
Shades is your trusted partner in stage lighting, offering a wide range of high-quality, innovative products since 2015. With designs that cater to all needs, fast delivery, and affordable prices, we provide exceptional customer service to ensure your satisfaction. With warehouses across the globe and sales in over 100 countries, Sheds is quickly becoming one of the most recognized names in the stage lighting industry. Visit shehds.com today to discover top-tier stage lighting solutions and become part of our global network.
Introducing Muck-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. Developed by our mad developer Alex and tested by riders, our products are made by riders for riders. Discover more at us.muc-off.com, where we break the mold to bring you the best in bike care.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels, our rebounders improve accuracy, control, and technique in both sports. Built with premium materials for durability and ease of use, they're ideal for training anywhere, anytime. Whether you're perfecting your soccer game or sharpening your lacrosse skills, Open Goal USA has you covered. Visit OpenGoalUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Chapellex is a full-category shapewear brand dedicated to providing women with exceptional comfort and support. We offer thoughtfully designed solutions that blend style with functionality, empowering women to feel confident and at ease every day. Chapellex is redefining what it means to have a perfect body. Our mission celebrates body positivity, embracing every shape and size, because true beauty lies in authenticity. Visit shapellx.com today and join a movement towards self-love, acceptance, and confidence.
Indulge in Blum's luxurious Lotus Flower Rolls. The green Lotus Roll bursts with a caramel apple flavor, while the blue Lotus Roll offers a smooth berry cream sensation. With our Crush for Flavor technology, enjoy an instant burst of natural, intense flavor anytime you desire. Elevate your experience with the finest creations nature has to offer. Explore the full collection at blumleaf.com. That's BLUUMLEAF.com. Blumleaf. Golf Partner, the world's largest golf store network, offers more purchasing opportunities than anywhere else. With a dominant market share and a wider selection of quality secondhand golf clubs than our competitors, we make it easy for you to enjoy the game with affordable, top-quality equipment. Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner. At Terrapin Ridge Farms, they believe in the joy of effortless entertaining. Inspired by CEO Mary O'Donnell's mom and her legendary holiday parties, they've crafted a line of gourmet foods that turn any meal into a celebration. From savory jams to mustards, aiolis, and more, their products are made with love, bringing unforgettable flavors to your table. Whether it's a casual get-together or a special occasion, they make it easy to impress. Terrapin Ridge Farms, where great food and great memories come together. Visit them at terrapinridge.com. Terrapin Ridge.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious. Find your blend at hempdelicious.com.
Welcome back here to the Chiefs Report, everybody. Jace Andrews, and the Chiefs have signed Mike Pennel. It's a big move today. Obviously something that we wanted to talk about, and helps out the defensive line in a big way. Talked about the injury report, and obviously now we got to talk about the trade deadline, because with it being on this upcoming Tuesday, there really isn't much else to talk about in the world right now, because quite frankly, that is the most important part of the NFL. And we have a couple of different updates for you on the trade deadline, what to expect, and including a question today was asked to Andy Reid about the trade deadline and kind of talk about his answer. So just to get you kind of the basics, the Chiefs look like they're going to ask for running backs. They're going to talk about defensive linemen, but given the signing today of Mike Pennel, I kind of think they might lean somewhere else. I am curious for the Chiefs whether or not they're going to be going all in, because when you think about this team, we'll talk about the season as a whole, the season was off to a tougher start, but their offense has looked spectacular since the past 2 games here. So I think that's why this game is so important against the Buffalo Bills, and why this week I think is probably a big one for Kansas City. Because if you think about the upcoming schedule and kind of the upcoming just plan of attack for the Kansas City Chiefs, you have this Sunday afternoon game against the Buffalo Bills, and it's exciting. You want that to be a big victory. But in a lot of ways, because that trade deadline is Tuesday, it's also a big kind of statement game for players. Again, I mentioned how big it was this past week against Washington. And yes, that's great. Or excuse me, this past Monday, I should say. It's great that you got the win, but again, it was without Jane Daniels. And then the Raiders, in my opinion, are playing like the worst team in the NFL. The Bills are a good team. The Bills are a team that you're going to have to go out there. You're going to have to go out and fight against. You're going to have to really make an effort to, I don't know what the right word is here, but to basically make it look like you can be a competitive team. I really think that that's kind of the harsh way to put it, probably, is that you have to go out there and compete, because if you can, then a couple of different things are going to happen. You're, first of all, going to be a lot less worried about the trade deadline because of this or that. But you're also going to feel good going forward, knowing you have Denver and Indianapolis, who right now are top 2 teams in the AFC alongside the Patriots. Like, that is a key couple of week stretch here coming up, with a bye week though in that middle part. So it's a tough stretch. It's a huge week for players. It's a huge week for Brett Veach and for this Chiefs franchise and front office to decide, what is the next move? What is the plan? How exactly are you going to, formulate this team going forward? Whether or not depends rather whether or not this team looks well enough to make a big playoff run in this upcoming game. So what was asked today to Andy Reid? Well, he was kind of talked about with Brett Veach, and here it is from Charles Goldman, a great Kansas City Chiefs reporter on X. Talked about here, said Chiefs head coach Andy Reid on communication with Brett Veach and the trade deadline coming up. Andy Reid said this, quote, "If he gets to a point where something's up, he hits me up on that. He's wired. He's always looking for people who can make us better." Brett Veach is such a, I don't even know the right word to describe him as a GM. He's communicative. He's very good about finding the right players for the right situation. I think Mike Pennel is a very good example. Talk about Kareem Hunt. Talk about players that he knows his team has had experience with and likes. He's also very good about including Andy Reid in these conversations, because ultimately Brett Veach is a great job at drafting and formulating free agency plans and all that, and contracts. But he wants to make sure that whatever player he does trade for is something that is going to work with Andy Reid's scheme, something that's going to work with Coach Spags' scheme. Like, it's kind of a double form here, where you have to look at the way that the money works, the way that it works with the team, but also from a coach's perspective. I mean, just to put a name out there, which we're going to talk about in a second, Breece Hall. If you went from, if you're Brett Veach and you go up and talk to Andy Reid and say, "Hey, I've got a deal in place that I'm willing to make for Breece Hall. Does he fit the scheme?" And Andy Reid says no, or Andy Reid says, "I don't know," then maybe it's not worth giving up whatever it would be that you're giving up for Breece Hall. So that's where it's kind of a big part of that. And the fact that, Andy Reid kind of talks about it is a big thing. So speaking of Breece Hall, we got a new kind of trade. I guess it's a mock trade, you could say. And I find it very intriguing because, first of all, I think this would be a little bit of a bargain for the Chiefs. Here's the trade. The Kansas City Chiefs would obviously receive the Jets running back Breece Hall. And in return, the Chiefs would give the Jets a 2026 third-round pick and a 2027 fifth-round pick. I do not think in any wild world the New York Jets accept this trade, for a simple fact that they could easily just keep him. Like, he's a top-tier running back. And Breece Hall has publicly stated that he does not want to be traded. He's also said he knows it's a business. He knows that it's not his choice whether he gets to be traded or not. But that trade is an intriguing one from FanDuel. Just 2026 third round pick, a 2027 fifth round pick. It's not something that I can see the Jets accepting. What also makes it harder, especially looking at a Breece Hall type person, is The Jets, who got their first win, that means nothing to me in the grand scheme of things, because if you got your first win in week 8, you're obviously selling. But they had a report today. Jeremy Fowler came out and said that the Jets are willing to basically hold on to Breece Hall. I find it intriguing for them to say that, just because I've talked about it so many times. Breece Hall does not fit the timeline of the New York Jets. He doesn't. The Chiefs are in a position where right now, if I look at this team, because of the injury to Isaiah Pacheco, and even before that, I really wanted a running back, but now with the injury, the number one need on this team is a running back of some form or fashion. Does that mean it has to be a top-tier guy like Breece Hall? No, not necessarily. I'm totally fine with a Jerome Ford. I think he's actually a really, really good back, a good receiving back. And even when Pacheco comes back, I like his formulation to put in this running back room. And you have Kareem Hunt with Jerome Ford, Isaiah Pacheco, and then you also have Brashard Smith, who can be, a force as well. But you sign Mike Pennel today. Your defensive line's in a better spot. I think you're good there. Your cornerback room, you could trade somebody away like Christian Fulton. Do you really need him anymore? There's been rumors that maybe you send off Jalen Watson, maybe you send off some guys to get some good picks back, knowing your defensive secondary is so good, and you trust Shamari Connor and Trent McDuffie. I really don't see another position on this Chiefs team that is needing more of a boost than the running back. I really don't. And this goes back before the Pacheco injury. Obviously, that's a part of this now, and you have to add that into the equation. But the ultimate grand scheme of things, were we not talking about Breece Hall a week ago? Were we not talking about what Breece Hall was going to look like on this team with Isaiah Pacheco? We were. Were we not talking about how Jerome Ford could look about? We were. This is such a pivotal time for Brett Veach, for the Chiefs to understand that, you had the 15-2 season last year. You stormed through the playoffs for the most part, and then you got to the Super Bowl, and it all came crashing down all at once. And in this season, you have gone through a host of different things at the start of the year where it looked bad, and there was 1,500 people screaming at the Chiefs saying, "Oh, guess what? There's the downfall of Travis Kelce. Oh, there's the downfall of Chris Jones. They're getting old now." First of all, it's not true. But what you can say is they're not getting old, but yeah, they're definitely getting older. They don't look old out there, but they're reaching the upper part of their career, and kind of understanding that. I'm not saying that the dynasty's anywhere close to being over. I'm not saying this team is anywhere close to not being good. But take advantage of the time that you have right now. Take advantage knowing that the AFC, for my opinion, is wide open. The Colts are a good team. Don't get me wrong. Jonathan Taylor is having an MVP level season. The Patriots look great. They're very young, though. They're very young. The Broncos, same situation. They're good. They're young. You have veterans. You have people who have been in this experience before. You have people who have been in the Super Bowl for the past 3 years in a row. 4 years in a row, whatever it is. Now is the time. The AFC is wide open. You strike. You get Breece Hall. You get Jerome Ford, for all I care. Get a running back. And all of a sudden, that opens up this team. It opens up on what this team can look like moving forward, what the expectations for this team is, and ultimately, at the end of the day, how far this team can go in the playoffs. You cannot sit here and tell me that with the way the Chiefs' offense has looked, with the way the Chiefs' defense has looked in the past 2 weeks, and I know they're not been great teams, but the way they've looked and the plays they've made, if you add Breece Hall, if you add even Jerome Ford, you can't tell me this team is not the top team in the AFC. The team to beat. I don't care if they're a 5 seed in the playoffs. You can't tell me that. You have a top-tier running back or even a group of running backs, if you have Jerome Ford with them, it'll be a bad team to face. No one would want to face you. You wouldn't. Brett Veach knows what he's doing. I trust him more than I trust me. There's a reason he's an NFL GM. There's a reason I'm not. The reason I'm sitting here talking to you. But in my opinion, I think if you get a running back, it's over for the AFC. Now, I can't guarantee you're going to go Super Bowl and win, but I really do think that if you get a running back, I see you in the AFC Championship. And I don't think there's a really that hard of a path with it. The offense looks good. You add a running back. This team is in a very solid place. We'll find out, though. Again, trade deadline next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, I believe. 4 p.m. Eastern, so 3 p.m. Kansas City time. Obviously, you can do the math past that on time zones. But, yeah, they signed Mike Pennel today. That's the biggest news of the day. We'll talk more tomorrow about all the moves, kind of anything else that we're seeing in the trade deadline talk. And, of course, we'll take a look at the injury report as well. So thanks for listening here today. We appreciate you hanging out with us here and listening on the Rogue Media Sports Network. But I'm Jace Andrews here signing off for the Chiefs Report today. Peace out, guys.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.